Hi guys, welcome back to Iggy's Toy Parade and Soldier Review. This is your host Iggy. What? Thanks for that. Guys, this is some more things that I found in the box with the Alamo set. I don't know quite why these were stored in the same box as the Alamo, but when you're packing up stuff to go and you're in a hurry, uh, some of the things make strange bedfellows, that's for sure. Basically, what you're doing is trying to put everything in the boxes like a puzzle, and it doesn't really matter what it is. But let's take a look at what we have. Let's unpack the box, so to speak, and see what we have here. First up is a Forces of Valor by Unimax Toys diecast Panzer IV. And it's got the short barrel. The improved version of this had a much longer barrel, which gave it a greater punching power. And I noticed something about this that I wanted to share with you, is they even detailed the bottom of the tank, which is kind of surprising since nobody sees that. But they made it look like it was muddy and had been through it, so to speak. It came with this tank commander. I think there's also a figure that's supposed to hang out of this hatch right here. If I can get it open. It was open and I closed the doors just before making this video. And now I can't open the doors. Oh gosh, I'll give it one more try and then I'll say forget it. I think I had it. No? Yes? It opened and then it opened and then closed. There we go. Is there detail in there? I don't think so. I think it's... Anyway. It's painted white, which they usually were. So the detail on this Panzer IV is excellent. Forces of Valor did a really fine job producing these vehicles. I wish they still... Someone told me they still make them, but they're really expensive. Like, you used to be able to get one of these in Target for like, what were they? I'm trying to think now. Were they like $30 or $25? They're between 25 and $30. Now they're 70. So the days of collecting them are at an end now, but I still enjoy the ones that I did manage to buy. I think the detail is really good. It's a very fine vehicle, and if you're into World War II and toy soldiers and everything, you need to consider some of these vehicles. The only drawback is that they're so nice you don't want to put them out in the dirt or anything. You don't want to actually play with them. They're more collector's items than a toy. You can get tanks that are more toy-like, that are available. And I think there's even a Panzer IV that you can get that is a toy, or maybe less detailed than this, and certainly not painted like this. This is very well done. Okay, I hope I gave you all the angles so you can get an idea of what you're dealing with. In the gas tank. This is the cleaning rod for the barrel. On the other side, I think there's supposed to be gas cans that go here. I probably have those around someplace. And my hatch is missing. I found one of the doors that go on here, but I couldn't find the other one, so I just kept it like this. So pretty cool. Next up is Ultimate Soldier 32 Extreme. And this is Imperial Japanese Marines. And this is Series 1. Let's see if I can get a... these I really like. These are not painted as well as some of the others that I have from them. You can see that the wrinkles are exaggerated with black paint. I know some guys like that, but I just prefer that, if he's wearing a khaki uniform, paint it khaki and let natural lighting create shadowing and not paint it on like that. But everyone has their preferences. That's why we have 31 flavors ice cream, because not everyone wants chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry. I like strawberry. I don't know about you guys. One of the best ice cream cones I ever had was pumpkin spice and eggnog flavored ice cream. Oh my God. 2 scoops of that, one eggnog and one pumpkin spice. Man, was that good. And I only had it once because when I went back the next year, they didn't have it. Sometimes you have to enjoy what comes your way in life because it may not ever come back again. I remember there was a drive-in burger place in Santa Barbara, California, on State Street, on Upper State Street, away from the beach. And I'm supposed to be talking about Japanese. I'm talking about burger stands. I always thought that one day I'm going to go there and with a date. And I finally got a girl to go with me. And I went there. And not only was it not there, they tore the building down, for God's sake. But it was called Carnation because they served Carnation ice cream. And they also served burgers. And I guess maybe I'm presuming hot dogs and things like that, drive-in kind of food. And it was completely gone. And then 8 years later, the girl that I took, she was gone too. You'll notice the color of his rifle, it seems different. The Japanese did produce Arisaka rifles that were that sort of blonde-looking color and also the more traditional walnut color. This is the infamous knee mortar. It was not used on the knee because it would shatter your kneecap, the recoil. They would put it on the ground and use both hands to hold it up like that to fire the mortar round. And there was the reason why they called it a knee mortar is the Department of Defense, or not Department of Defense, it was called the War Department, released a book in 1944, and there in it was a picture of these so-called knee mortars, and there was a Marine holding it, and he had it placed on his knee, and it just stuck that they called it a knee mortar, but it was actually meant. This shows it in its proper use with the butt of the mortar firmly and placed on the ground. And I think this is a Type 96 machine gun, which is similar to the Bren in appearance. Here's an officer. So it's a fine collection of soldiers. I really miss these days when you could go into Toys R Us and they had these Ultimate Soldier figures. In fact, those were the glory days when you could get Forces of Valor tanks and Ultimate Soldier. Gosh, I miss those days a lot because now everything is real pricey. Like these sets here were $10. You go to Toys R Us, get this for $10. Now, if you're lucky, you can get them for 25 or 20, 25. I have a box of these Russians. And I think these are British Paras, and I didn't get any of these. I never seen them before. But these are British Paras. He's got a Piat. And a Sherman tank. The British called their Shermans the Firefly, and it had an extended 76 millimeter gun. But I don't have any of these Paras. I don't even have a pair of Paras, apparently. I do have the Russians, though. And I remember buying those in Santa Barbara. So I just told the Santa Barbara story, and here I'm back to Santa Barbara again. Okay, the last thing I got for you. So far we've covered Ultimate Soldier, Imperial Marines. I think this is from 2005. Yes. By 2007, all this stuff was gone. This is something my brother Ron gave me for Christmas, and it's a World War I A7V German tank, and it shows here that it's made by Krupp. And look at the difference, the evolution of the tank design. This giant metal box or coffin, if you will, compared to this. It's amazing the transformation in tank design. The French and English, the French, I think, had the most modern appearing tanks of World War I. The British tanks looked monsters like this thing here. The Germans didn't manufacture very many of these during the war. I think they had like 17 of them or something like that. I think it says so on the box here. I never made this kit because I am terrible at making models. All right, it says after British tanks appeared during World War I, Germany developed its own, the A7V. This tank weighed 30 tons. It's funny because the tank I drove in the Army was 50 tons. Yet this thing looks much bigger to me for some reason. Had a crew of 16. Can you imagine that? It said that this tank had the largest number of crew in the world. I believe that. Most tanks have 4 crewmen. Some had just 3. Some had just 2. The little tankettes that the Japanese had just had 2. I think it was put in Japan. Yeah, it's not saying. I thought it said how many were made, but I guess not. Anyway, that's the interior of it. Oh, by the way, it just reminded me when I said that. Okay. When I said interior of the tank, my brother had this photo made for me. This is Iggy when he was in the Army. I'm sitting in the gunner's position. I was a driver, so the reason I was sitting over here, I was reading a book, I remember. I'm not sure why I'm in the gunner's position, though. The driver's compartment was very small and cramped. I remember one time we were going down range, and I got on my radio. There's a little toggle switch on the other. Is it shown here or is it on the other side? I got on the radio and I said, uh, Sergeant, the Sergeant Rivas, we're on fire. And he goes, what? I said, the tank's on fire. And everyone started to panic. I'm the one who should have panicked because the heater inside of was in the driver's compartment, the heater for the tank, and it caught on fire. And it was getting pretty toasty in there. And I stopped the tank, and they turned the turret around. And because when you're driving it, you're separated by a cage from the rest of the crew. And they turned it around, and they had a fire extinguisher, and they put the fire out just as it was starting to melt my polyester cotton pants. But I was pretty calm about it. Maybe it's because I didn't know any better. Sometimes you can mistake ignorance for bravery. In my case, it was pure ignorance. It's like when I went horseback riding for the first time and the horse started to throw me and was bucking, and I thought it was funny. And the girl I was with was terrified. She said, you could have been hurt really badly. And I didn't know. I just thought it was kind of fun. All right, so I got some more pictures for you. This one was taken. I was on guard duty. No, I wasn't on guard duty. I'm standing in front of my tank, and picture was taken by a guy named Ricky. I can't remember Ricky's last name, though. You can see that I'm trying to grow a mustache, but it just looks like a smudge of dirt on my lip. It was always very cold and wet in Germany, so I'd have a lot of clothes on. I was actually pretty skinny when I was in the Army. Now I look like this, but I'm not wearing layers of clothing. I just am fat like that. We were waiting our turn, I think, to go on the range, something like that. I can't remember exactly. There's a lot of mud, as you can see. And then I have one more picture. This is me. I was on guard duty. I'm not standing in front of my tank, though. I was just on guard duty. So the whole company's tanks were parked together, and I was on guard. And you notice that my helmet doesn't fit very well. And what's really funny is guys would wear their helmet with the chin strap unbuckled, and they would run and they would look like really tough soldiers. When I would run, my helmet would spin on the top of my head, and I'd look like a clown. And you can see it doesn't fit very well. I'm wearing, I forgot what we called those. Is that balaclava? Or I can't remember what we called those. But it's like a little Russian hat that you cover your ears with. And anyway, my helmet's sticking way up in the air. It looks kind of comical. I'm trying to look like a tough guy, and I'm failing miserably. And we used to carry 45 sidearms. When we went on guard duty, we weren't allowed to have our weapons with the magazine inserted in the weapon. And they would give us a magazine of live rounds, but then they would put a black electrical tape over the rounds. So if you were in danger, you'd have to first get your magazine, take off the tape, put it into the weapon, charge the weapon, and then you're ready. Well, by that time you're dead. But that was the regulation that you were not allowed to have. And since I almost killed a guy having my weapon loaded, I can understand why they ordered it that way. But that's me standing in front of one of the company tanks on guard duty with my fake mustache that looks like dirt. I think this was taken at Grafenwehr. We trained at three different locations. One was Hohenfels, one was Grafenwehr, and the other one, I can't remember the name of it, but it was at a spot near where Elvis served when he was in the Army. Because when we went into the chow hall there was pictures of Elvis all over the place when he was in the service. I can't remember the name of the place, though. Anyway, that's all I got for you. This is Iggy saying thank you for getting Iggy with it. Thank you for enlisting in the Iggy Army, those of you who have done that recently. And I'll show you quickly again what we have here. A model kit of the A7V, Germany's World War I vehicle. Then we have the Panzer IV short-barreled version by Unimax Toys, Forces of Valor. Let's turn this guy around so he can say hello to you. Hello, welcome to my Panzer IV tank. I hope you enjoyed everything that we had shown you tonight. Yeah, it's good, yeah. And then we have Imperial Japanese Marines by Ultimate Soldier. And these are all great poses. I think I'm going to have to work on the painting a little bit. I do have some of these that are painted just the way I like them, but I have several sets that are painted like this, and I just don't care for that much, so I'll change it. Or ask my brother to do it, because I can't do anything that requires skill. Anyway, that's all I got for you this time, guys. So my next video will be reproduction cowboys, miners, and trappers, I guess they called them. Cowboys, miners, and trappers. And maybe an MPC stagecoach that looks more like a Regency era coach, but you know, it is what it is. And then after that, I have a original Ford Apache set in the box that I'll share with you guys. And then after that, I'm not sure what to do unless I find that missing box of Civil War soldiers, which I keep hoping for, because it had an awesome number. And I'm also missing some soldiers of Forces of Valor boxed sets of Germans, British paras, and Americans. So those are missing still too. So hopefully out there somewhere there's still another box to be found. That's all I got for you this time, guys. Thanks for coming along, and thank you for indulging me while I shared that story of my Army experience with you. And I'll see you in the next video, okay? You guys have a good evening. Good night.